Vic,
Hey, what's up, brother? How we doing?
there you go. All right, all right.
My
Well,
bad. I'm not the best with the technology.
hey, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem. No problem at all. No problem at all. Um, you sound good though. I can hear you, and we got you on the screen, so that's good.
Perfect. Likewise,
I had a
likewise.
little, I had a little bit of a different. I got your guy hitting me up real quick. I had a little bit of a different idea for your intro, but we'll go with what we got.
Okay.
Let me introduce you here in just a second. I just want to make sure that the stream is going well.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh yeah. Let's see here. There we go. All right, all right. Hey, yesterday we had on our first guest of 2021, and today we're going to keep it rolling with today's guest, Vic Vicious Pasillas.
Yeah.
What's good, man? How you doing?
Man, we're good, man. We just got done right now. We got off the ring, sparred 12 rounds. We did a photo shoot with my boy Tony Armenta and my boy Fabian Melendez. Now we're work after work after work. So I just barely jumped out, just got done with the training clothes right now.
Okay, okay. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your
Of
time.
course. Of course, of course.
And let me jump back to okay. There we go. Yeah, okay. The little technical difficulties kind of got me out of my role and whatnot, but so still hitting it pretty hard. Doing. Let me tell Mario we're good real quick.
Okay, okay.
See, I don't have an assistant in here with me, man, so I can't get somebody else.
Everything's hands on, right?
You're right, right,
God should have blessed you with forearms.
exactly. Couple sets of eyes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so that looks like that takes care of one thing. And now I'm just back to you. So you said you just wrapped up some sparring, man.
Yeah, man. We just got done with sparring. I sparred with my boy Arnold and my boy Eros Correa. It was fun, man. We did a little quick 12 rounds. Nothing too sassy.
How was it managing everything getting through the holidays and whatnot? And I know you want to eat and let loose a little bit, party. How the holiday season affect your celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, it's a natural thing. My whole life I box, and it's kind of crazy because as a 10 year from 8 years old, really 10 years old because the nationals, 10 years old to 19 years old, it was nonstop. Like we always had a diet during Christmas, we had a diet during Thanksgiving and New Year's. We never really had them because we were running in the beaches, training hard, So it's just a repetitive lifestyle, and I'm used to it. So what we did was just, we kind of, for Christmas, we did the original, tamales and pozole, but now I'm not having my original 10 tamales. I had one tamale with a little bowl of pozole and salad, but, my work ethic kind of keeps my weight low. I run 10 miles a day. I train about 3 to 4 hours a day, hour and a half of boxing, 2 hours of boxing, 2 hours of strength training, and I train 6 to 7 days a week. So I'm always on my feet, So the food doesn't really affect me. Of course, it slows down the diet, but we have plenty of time. I'm walking around 133 pounds as we speak right now. So I'm ready. We ready now. Just time is ticking.
Okay. I tell you, man, that's one of the things that I got about you when checking out your fight against Encarnacion, man. I feel like I'm watching a true professional fighter that really enjoys and is committed and dedicated to what he does. It kind of came out in your performance, in my opinion. So,
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like what you're telling me is part of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for the Encarnacion fight, man, at 126, man, we made that eating. I that that Thursday, the day before the weigh-ins. Oh no, I'm sorry. That Tuesday, the day before the weigh-ins, we was grubbing. I woke up that morning on Tuesday morning. 2 pounds light, so we eat breakfast. So 126. That's I can fight at that weight class because I can hit hard. I can box. I can do everything. But 122 is more home for me. That's more. You got to squeeze a little bit to make the weight. That feels more natural to me. I feel like I'm naturally bigger in 122 than any 122 out there. 126, we sit well. I'm 5'5.5". my reach as well, my body size as well. I blow up to about 140 before I get into the ring, So you know, the Encarnacion fight was just a perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect display to show the world, hey, I'm back and I'm here to stay.
Got you. I didn't want to go right into that. I did want to build to some of this, the us that are just getting to see you and getting familiar with you and whatnot. But I wanted to go back to the amateurs. From what I understand, and even this was mentioned on the broadcast between Flores and I believe Goosen, but you were somewhat I'm out in the Midwest and considered, Eastern Standard Time and whatnot. We have these playground legends that we're very familiar with, but one that I just came across for the West Coast was a kid named Shea Cotton. But I'm hearing that you were like a playground legend, only in the boxing gym. Can you just talk to me about coming up through the California amateur or gym scene, boxing gym scene?
As far as California, man, I call myself the California King, man. Ain't nobody left the districts, ain't nobody left the states because they didn't go through me. I'll tell you that much. 278 fights, 6 losses, and controversial losses at that. My father kept my ass in the gym. I kept myself in the gym as well. You know, we've been in the ring. With the best. We were at Maywood, we were at Freddie Roach's, we were at Azteca, we were at my gym and Eastside Boxing Gym. So as alone just in California, Los Angeles, California, you got so many gyms, and yeah, man, you're gonna have to fight all the greats. You're gonna have to fight all all the little tough fighters, little pit bulls and stuff like that. And I feel like that's what molded me into the fighter I am right now. And that's as far as playground legend. Man, let me tell you that I felt like I was definitely one of the guys that carried my state as far as and the next one after that I feel is Andre Ward.
Okay, okay. That's a hell of a name to be in the same sentence with in
Oh,
anything box
definitely,
related.
definitely. Of
What's
course,
some
of
of the
course. You can ask any other Californian man. Andre Ward, 2004. I feel like that was, one of the last great Olympians. And was growing. Coming into 2012. Trying to make the 2012 team. 2011, I got an offer by top ranking Cameron Duncan that turned me pro. But other than that, I would have been in 2012 Olympics and getting the gold medal. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm glad that I started my pro career a little early just so I can get a little taste of the leather. Because amateur wise, 278 fights. Trust me, man. I've been through it all. So there's more. There's the only next step was just the Olympics, but pro career was a little bit more important to me having a baby at such a young age.
got you? Do you credit all of that experience? Is that why you seem to look so comfortable in the ring? I mean, and you fight forward, backwards, you get angles. It seems like you don't have much of a problem facing taller guys. Does all of that come from that?
Definitely, man. I mean, I'm 5'5" and a half. I'm not a giant. I fought nobody that was my height, and if I did, it was very rare. I mean, I've always been a shorter fighter, and my father never let me struggle to make weight. So, there was tournaments where we got there at 101 pounds, and if I was 102, 3 pounds, my dad's like, "You're gonna fight at 106 this one," and we just move up and beat everybody up. Sometimes we get there at 106, and there was no competition at 106. My dad would see the competition was at 112. He'd be like, "Hey, you're gonna move up because if we win this tournament, it was basically a waste of flight money. Let's get our rounds in with these guys. We got some good cats at 112, and those were the tournaments I really shined out when I got to eat and be comfortable. So when I get in the ring as a pro, the whole thing I love about being a pro is you get to take your time a little bit more. You gotta open them up, break them down. And the amateurs is 3 rounds, and you gotta go in there and you gotta give it your all. So as far as the transition goes, man, it was a little confusing to not jump around a lot and score points and move it. So I'm glad that I got to meet my coach Brian Schwartz, who showing me how to break people down without having to pull out straight back or drop my hands or fight like a real pro. And then of course you don't forget the old 278 fights of fighting, being slick and pointing people up and turning people and outboxing them and just capitalizing on every mistake. So I feel like all I could do is just add to my pedigree. And of course, man, 278 fights. That should taught me a thing or two. So when I jumped in front of Encarnacion, that's what I told everybody. I told Goosen, I told Flores, I told anybody that interviewed me. I said, "Well, you guys are gonna see there's levels to this. No disrespect to the man. We my sportsmanship's great. I shook the man's hand. We was cool after, cool before. Just it's nothing personal. But when it comes to boxing, just like with the, Kobe Bryant. I always like the way he's not aggressive, but when you get in there with him, he's gonna school you. And I
Right.
feel the same way. When I go in there, you're not gonna touch me. I'm gonna touch you. And if you want to make it a war, please, let's do
And
it.
so who were some? I saw some bigger guys as pros. I'm seeing the Boss Man kid Sims, I believe, was maybe
Kenneth.
he's one you Kenneth you met in the amateurs, as well as Luis Feliciano.
Yep.
Anybody else that you ran across in the amateurs?
I mean, I can look at my book. To be honest, it's crazy because I always tell my wife, like, when we see these guys fight on TV, I'm like, I beat him, I beat him, I beat him, I beat him. And then there's some of them that they're fake. Some like me, I look the same. I didn't really grow that much from when I was 14, so I kind of look the same, just with a hairy face. But there's some kids that develop. I'm like, damn, that kid, I think I fought him, but he fights at 165 now, or he fights at 168. So as far as names go, I'm not the really want to drop names. You know, you can just go on the internet. You can kind of see who I beat. And we didn't get it. We just didn't get in there and just beat them. We did it with style. We broke them down. Some of them we stopped. Some of them we knocked out. Some of them we just we gave them mercies. It'd be 20-0. I mean, but that's one thing I can say is we always entered every tournament well prepared, well confident. And we always left victorious. The couple of times that I did lose, I just my dad used to say, you left it up to the judges. You left it up to the judges. It was never no closeout on my end.
Got you. So after 2015, I believe you have you had this 3 year break in your career and whatnot. Being as dedicated as you are to the sport, um, you know, how'd you sit with that? Or what caused that?
You know, um, it was kind of out of my control. I feel like I have a lot of blaming myself to do, as far as, like, the inconsistency of fighting. Because I mean, if I was ready at all times, when you're young, you kind of make a lot of stupid mistakes. You kind of think, I deserve this, I deserve this, because look at my record. And I really didn't understand and appreciate the sport so much. I've been fighting since I was 6 years old. So I mean, it was one of those things where, like, I felt like everything I did had to be on my say so, and that's not how boxing works. You got to have a team, you got to listen to your coach, you got to do this kind of stuff, and listen to your manager and stuff like that. You know, feel like 2015 split with me and Top Rank had a lot to do with my inactivity and my miscommunication with my manager at the moment, not my current manager. My current manager, Greg Hanley, is the best manager in the world, and thank God for him, because now I'm back. But as far as my previous manager, no hard feelings, nothing bad against him. Just he had a lot of fighters. He had a lot of major fighters, and I mean, if you're not bringing those managers that type of money where they're gonna vouch for you, like, hey man, this guy's gonna make me $100,000 because he's about to make $1 million. I wasn't making that kind of money. I wasn't even making the 10,000. Nothing like that. This fight that I just fought with Encarnacion was the biggest paycheck I've ever cashed as far as a fighter. Not my signing bonus or nothing, just as far as the check goes. Fight that was my biggest I've ever seen. So I feel like the 2015 split made me appreciate boxing, made me come back to the sport with a whole different demeanor, whole different approach. And I just thank God that I got a second chance.
I heard Sugar Ray Leonard talk about he hated to have breaks in boxing because he would lose his he would like lose his edge and like the savage nature that he needed for the brutal sport that boxing actually is. So how did you kind of pick back up after this 3 year hiatus? How did you work yourself back into having that, just the demeanor, the in-ring demeanor that you need to have to be a successful fighter?
Man, let me tell you, 2000 from 2015 to 2018, you know how many of my friends I seen become champions? Jojo Diaz was one of them. Jose Ramirez was another one. Man, when I seen those guys win the world title, I felt like I won a world title because those are my boys. And I was like, man, but at the end of every of those fights, I sat there with the most blank feeling, the most blank look, the most emptiness I've ever felt in my life. Like, I started working as a personal trainer, making six figures a year. So I was well comfortable. My kids have everything they want. My wife has everything that she wants. I have everything I want. It was more of that, man. I was brought in this world for something more than just being a trainer, man. I'm 25. I'm 25 years old, 24 years old, and I'm meeting. I'm having amateur fighters and all that. Maybe in the line when I'm 35 and 37 years old, that's for me. But I had to I had to just dig deep in there and find out whether I wanted it or not. In 2017, like the November, December, Greg Hanley gave me a message, man. And he said, "Hey, how's everything going?" And me and Greg Hanley, like, it's my big brother right there. So kind of told him, "Hey, I'm doing good." I was kind of talking about my job and everything. And for about a week, we were kind of going off of that. And he was like, "So you're gonna tell me you don't want to box no more?" And I was just like, "Of course I want to box, but I don't think I got a shot. I mean, I don't think, like, kind of, I thought I lost it a little bit. I started becoming a punching bag for my clients and stuff like that. And but at the end of the day, from 2015 to 2018, I was in the gym every single day, 6 days a week, constantly eat, breathing. Boxing was just all that's all I was doing. And I felt like when I came back in 2018, it was just like a little shake off a little couple cobwebs, but I felt like I didn't learn. I mean, I didn't lose anything. I felt like I learned more how to be patient, how to break people down. Because when you're playing defense for 3 years on clients and stuff like that, some of your clients become good, some of the fighters become good, and then you become like a punching bag. But at the end of the day, I never got hit. So I was always
Right, right.
sharp. I was always sharp. So 2018 came in. I fought twice. 2019 came in. I fought 3 times 2018, once in 2019, and then 2020 came. I only fought once. So anytime they ever give me an opportunity, I say yes. Because that's what broke me down back then. Is I was never ready. I was always, I had alternative lifestyle that I was living, to where I was oh, I need 12 weeks because I need to drop from 170 pounds to 122 pounds. And I lift weights. I do CrossFit. So I was never sitting down with a big stomach. I was sitting there just a lot of muscle. So shaping down those last. I mean, when I got that fight in 2018, man, it was more like I got to drop all this muscle rather than I got to get in shape. Because I was already in shape. So I mean, I feel like being back, getting back into that lifestyle of being committed and being dedicated. Oh, I was waiting for 3 years. I was waiting for it. So it's just like, like an old movie star sitting there, like every call he gets, oh my God, I'm gonna get another chance. Oh my God, I'm gonna get another chance. And it was never like that until I caught a phone call from Greg Hanley.
Got you. Any celebrity clients, during any of this time with you being out, on the West Coast?
I'm sorry, what was that? You kind of broke up on that one.
Oh, any celebrity clients at any time while you were doing the personal training?
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, I have a couple, from like the gym, like that I'm at. There's a lot of cool people around here. Like, for example, like I didn't know who Frank Gore was, and I didn't know who Michael Crabtree were for a while. And they're those are my kin now. Those are my big bros now. But for a while, I was like kind of like training aside of them. I was got a couple clients here, and I'm like, man, this guy's driving a Ferrari, man. This guy's driving a Bentley. What do they do for a living? Like, what do you guys do? And they wouldn't even tell me. And one day, my family came up to watch me, just to come visit. And my cousin, one of my cousins was like, wait, that's Frank Gore. And I had been chopping it up with him for 6, 7 months already, chilling with him all the time. And then there was another one where that's Michael Crabtree. And I'm like, wait, the football players? And they're like, yeah, but they're so down to earth to where you couldn't even notice. And they don't come in with jewelry, they don't come in with the suits, they come in with flip flops. So that's when I learned, like, man, I want to be like that, man. I want to invest. I want to be a people's champ. I don't want to be the type of guy when I walk in the gym, I got me an entourage. So yeah, I can say that being a personal trainer, I've trained around a lot of famous people. But they taught me how to be humble, because if they're humble, I mean, I'm nobody. Why can't I be humble? So that's why I see a lot of these little prima donnas in boxing, and they acting like they're superstars, but their bank accounts is broke. You got these guys that are flossing $100,000 worth of jewelry, but they're still late, but they're behind on their payments. So that's one thing I can say that humbled myself was, when I first turned pro, man, I remember walking into the MGM Grand, my first fight, with $1,900 of just shoes, leather pants, and a shirt. $1,900. Like, what the hell was I thinking? I should have walked in with a humble ass approach. But my wife was walking around with a $700 dress. Now I'm like, man, I wish I can have that money back.
Right.
So of course, I feel like being in a Bay Area, man, you're gonna come across network. The tech network is crazy. You come across these people from Amazon, across the people from Facebook, and everybody's just so humble. Everybody's just so chill. It's just such a It's such a relaxing lifestyle to be around. That's why I live in the Bay Area now.
Got you. Um, So, like I said, man, super bantamweight is a division that's really been on my radar the last year and a half, and I'm super excited about it. Showtime's grouped you guys, got a gang of you guys that are very talented, some of the champions and whatnot. But what's going to allow Vic Pasillas to stand apart, from now that you're, at the top of the contender level and getting in the championship picture? What attributes of you are going to allow you to stand out in that group?
Like, I mean, like, I'm sorry, you kind of broke up on that whole last question. I'm trying to get into a better area where I get a little bit better reception.
I was just asking, what's unique about Vic? Can you hear me at all?
I mean, so but I'm trying to understand the question. So the question is like, what's unique about me with the top contenders and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I feel like the pedigree that I have, I feel like the determination that I have, the hunger, especially the loss of time, I mean, I feel like I feel like I lost so much time to where I can't I can't say no to nothing. Any opportunity to give me, I'm gonna take it. And as far as my pedigree goes against a lot of these guys that I'm seeing with championship bouts, you know, and nowadays you sneeze and you get a belt, So it's like, man, I mean, I remember back in the days where you had to fight, 7 to 12 fights, to get one belt. So that's what I feel like. A lot of these guys are sitting at the top of the throne, being little cherry pickers and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what's gonna separate me from them is they're gonna see a young, hungry guy from the streets, humble as hell, but mean as hell at the same time, coming through and just like a wrecking ball. I'm sweeping everybody off. Anybody who's in my way, I'm taking them all out. Top contenders, champions. From 122 to 130 pounds, it's gonna be some fireworks.
Got you. Oh, that's what I want. So, right now you're number 8 in the WBA. Speaking of that champ, what's your thoughts on MJ Akhmadaliev?
Man, we are breaking. You sound like a robot right now. I'm trying to get somewhere. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Okay. So go ahead. Say that last question again. I'm sorry.
I was saying, with you being ranked at number 8 right now in the WBA with Marajan Akhmadaliev up there as the champion, what's your thoughts on matching up with him, a guy like him?
I want that fight. Hey, Joel Diaz, if you're watching this, bro, you better line your boy up. I want those belts. But yeah, man, MJ, right? They call him MJ.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, man, that's a fight right there. I want, I like those kind of fighters, man. Those fighters that are gonna bring the fight out of you. I mean, I prefer a fight like that than over a fight like with Neri or a fight with Ray Vargas or something like that. I feel like that MJ guy is gonna make me fight. He's gonna make me get tired. He's gonna make me dig deep and really, really showcase my talent. That's the kind of fight I would love. I would love to go. Or if I can't get him, then I would like to get a Brandon Figueroa, Angelo Leo, Stephon Fulton. Whatever champion that Showtime PBC gives me, I'm grateful for. Anybody where they want to feed me, I'm starving. Let's get it.
So, do you think the performance against Encarnacion, do you think that kind of catapulted you up to the front of the line to get shots at those guys, provided that you got to deal with Ra'eese Aleem in a couple of weeks first? But do you think that performance it helped to fast forward you a little bit?
Oh, definitely, man. That's why I took this. That's why I took this opportunity. First, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even think about it. They told me you want to fight at 126. I thought, yeah, because I'm gonna make 126 easy. I can eat my first fight back in about 15 months. Two, I seen his record. I'm like, okay, this guy fought a bunch of ducks. All good. I'm gonna fight him. Once I looked at his, I signed a contract before even looking at his fight. Then my coach texted me. He's like, hey, this guy's actually pretty good. He's actually really strong. And I was like, that's cool. He can be good, but I'm great and I'm very strong. So with that confidence already, I mean, like I said, I've been through so much in life, I mean, it's like, my coach told me in 2014, do you want to do this or not? that's when I made the decision. Like, okay, that's when I left my alternative lifestyles, and that's when I stopped doing all the bullshit that I was doing. So and like with that Encarnacion fight, I felt like it was like 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 a rubber band, like shooting a little piece of paper over the finish line. And of course, at any time I could have caught some wind and stopped, and then I got that far. I could have ran into a punch. I could have did that, but that's when the training comes into play. That's when the homework comes into play, and the confidence comes into play. So I feel like I thank Encarnacion for taking that fight, because it's hard to get me fights at 122, especially like with somebody that's coming off somebody that with a pedigree like mine. A lot of these guys would be like, we don't need to fight Victor Pasillas because Victor Pasillas ain't even ranked. So I really, if it wasn't for Encarnacion taking that fight for me, I would still be waiting here for 8-round fights, 10-round fights if to get it, or fighting in Mexico or fighting around. So I mean, thank you PBC as well. TGB, Mario Serrano, Greg Hanley. I mean, if it wasn't for them always looking out for those kind of type of fights, that these guys were highly ranked, but them looking out for me as well. Like I've been offered. I'm not gonna mention no names, but I've been offered some major fights, and I took them. I'm like, let's do it. But then the promotion looks at it like too much of a risk for them to fight the champion against me or somebody against me, and then they pull it back on me. Let me tell you, man, there's been time. 2018, man, we were training all year. Greg would tell my manager, Greg would say, hey, we got this fight with this person. I will take it, and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, no, you're not gonna fight. It was like that all 2018. All 2019, all 2020. Before the COVID hit, I was supposed to fight March 28th or something like that. The world shut down March 16th. And It was like, man, I was already at weight, but I didn't lose faith. I said a prayer, I opened my Bible, and God blessed me with the September fight, and let me tell you, man, it was like I was in the gym so much where I had, injury after injury after injury. It didn't stop me. I was like, I cannot say no to this fight because of my knuckle, because of my leg, because of my arm. It was like, man, fuck that. I'm gonna take this fight. I'm gonna take this guy I'm gonna take this kid into deep waters. And then that was plan. That was plan A was like, we're gonna bang it out and do all that. Plan B was gonna be, we're gonna box his head off. Turn him, beat him 10 rounds. Plan C was what we did, walk his ass down, beat the brakes off of him, and knock him out. So, but as the time came closer to his fight, I felt like Plan C became Plan A, Plan A became Plan C, and Plan B stood as Plan B. And that's what I told I told Joe Goosen, and I told Ray Flores about that. I said, I don't think he's gonna get past Plan A, because I can fight for 15, 20 rounds. I seen that after his 7th round, 6th round, he's gasping for air, And those are the kind of fighters that rely off their power. Those are the kind of fighters that rely off their management by getting him knockouts. He didn't know. He had no clue in the world that what he got himself into. At first 1-2, his eyes were like, what the hell? Who is this guy? And then after that, it's constant pressure. I'm like a pit bull. Once I lock on you, I ain't letting go. You got to get the water hose and bats and everything, because that's the only hope.
Got you. I had another question there, but I want to jump to Ra'eese Aleem. Like I said, I think this is a hell of a fight. It kind of got on my radar last week when I was putting up an article on bitedownboxing.com about the schedule. And, I saw the Leo and Fulton fight out there, which many of us might be familiar with. And then I saw Ra'eese Aleem's name and yours, and I had been hearing, some buzz with your name. So, that's a hell of a co-main event. Obviously, it makes great sense to put you two guys there as undefeated super bantamweights, and then right in front of the WBO super bantamweight championship between Leo and Fulton, who were already supposed to fight. But they bring you Aleem. Yeah. This very well could be a championship fight. Both of you guys are highly skilled in different ways and whatnot. So you see his name. What do you say about taking that fight?
Oh man, first and foremost, once I seen, at first we didn't, it was, I think they said it was going to be like a title eliminator. I said, yeah. So don't just send me the contract. Let's do it. Then they told me it was going to be for the WBA Intercontinental Championship. I said, wait, we gonna get a strap for this? I can add me a belt to my collection, of course, So, no disrespect to Ra'eese, like I said, there's just levels to this, man. You know, I mean, and Ra'eese just ain't on my level, you know, and I respect him for taking the fight and thank you for signing the contract, you know. But tough fighter, well determined, you know. He's 30 years old, so he ain't taking no steps back. He's gonna come forward, you know. He's gonna take the big shots. He's gonna take the big risks, and that's what's gonna get him into trouble. He's gonna run into a lot of shit, you know. And I feel like, you know, I respect. He has a respectful record, you know. But other than that, you know, look at the people he fought. Really, you know, people look at my fight and they say, "Oh, look at the people you fought." Really, I mean, shit. If I would have had it my way, we would have been fighting top dogs all the time. But then top dogs never gave me the shot. They were too scared to fight. Their coaches, anybody in the United States, I've been through them. You know, in 3 rounds or whatever. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things where where um, where I feel like it's gonna be a great show out. It's gonna be a great. It's gonna be a great show out. It's gonna be a great fight. The numbers look pretty. The numbers look pretty. You got somebody 16-0. You got somebody 17-0. You know,
Right.
me coming off a big win, him coming off a big win. You know, so I look at it for boxing. It's gonna look pretty, but when we get in the ring, they're gonna like you're gonna hear this, and mark my words, you're gonna hear this. Oh, Victor's at another level. Let's get him something hard. You're gonna hear a lot of critics saying, "Oh, let's see how Victor does against the champions and stuff like that." Because I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna show out. You know, I'm gonna capitalize on every mistake he makes, and if he doesn't adjust, that pressure's going to be applied to him. You know, and then you know, the body punches. You know, I mean, I'm a full round fighter, so I right now I'm just thinking how I'm gonna fight him, and I don't want to give up too much. Because at the end of the day, you know, we still got to fight each other, and I don't want to sit there and be barking. You know, like my dad kept me humble on that part. Like my dad be like, hey, put in the work. When we get in there, once that bell rings, we take off the leash, and then we start shaking. Let's go. You know, so I mean, you know, I'm gonna give him his credit. You know, I'm gonna give him his credit, but you know, you know, he better be ready. That's all I gotta say. You know, and I respect that Greg Hanley put us both in on this fight. You know, because we're both his fighters. We're both at the same manager. You know,
Right.
so I mean, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. A lot of managers ain't down like that. A lot of managers be like, oh, I don't want my fighters fighting. You know, he gave us the opportunity, saying, hey, if it ain't you, it's gonna be somebody else. So I mean, shit, I took the fight eyes closed.
I asked him, you know, we talked yesterday, and I asked him, what did he expect from you? How did he expect you to come at him? And he said he really didn't have any idea. Of course, like you said, you guys can't give away too much, but he said, you know, he didn't expect you. He didn't have any expectations for what you would do, but he said his intention was just to take care of you and get you out of the way and move forward to, you know, his big goal and whatnot. Any idea on how he might approach fighting you?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen in his fights, you know, he don't really got so much videos on his fights, but I got a couple of little fights, you know, and I'm one of those fighters, man. It's weird. 278 fights. My dad would be like, "You want to watch your opponent fight? Because you know, tournaments, you got to watch your opponent." I never watch my opponent's fight. I just, you know, it's whatever. When we get in the ring, I'm gonna fight my way. Everybody got some plans, so they get punched in the face, like Tyson said. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, so I mean, I feel like he's gonna come out. He's gonna try to apply that pressure. He's gonna try to throw a bunch of punches. He's gonna try to show out. He's gonna try to out hustle me. But I mean, a lot 272 fighters try to hustle me. It ain't gonna work. You know. So I mean, like I said, I don't want to give up too much. I don't really know. I don't really know him. You know, I've never really paid attention to him. I never heard of him. You know. So I mean, I hope he brings his A game. I hope he has that mentality when we get in the ring.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like both of you guys are highly skilled and sharp boxers and whatnot, but just go about things differently. I think you had a bit of a better opponent in Encarnacion. So I saw a lot more from your performance and whatnot. But like I said, again, I think it's an excellent fight. I'm hoping that fans tune in and check it out. I think a lot being combined with the championship fight with Leo and Fulton, I just think it's an excellent card. I mean, Romero
Yes.
and whoever he has to open it, you know, whatever. But I think it's going to be a fantastic event. Um,
Yes.
After January 3rd, you got a big boost off of the September fight. I believe you guys fought September 23rd or something. But you got a lot of buzz on Vic Pasillas' name from that. After January 23rd, what do you think the word will be on Vic Pasillas January 24th?
Man, after this performance, man, I feel like the buzz is gonna be real, man. It's gonna be like, oh man, these world champions. Because I mean, when you get to these kind of fights and you get through these kind of fights, the only option you have is to fight world champions. So it's more it's going to be more like how's Victor going to do against these world champions? What is he going to do to adjust? So I don't plan to go in this fight just to go in there and knock him out. I already know the knockouts are going to come. I go in there to display. I want to display my skills. I want the world to be confident. I want my fans to be confident in me. I want my fans to be like, man, there ain't nobody going to touch Victor, rather than, you get in there and you run into some shots and shit like that. And then you got your fans saying, damn, I don't think he should fight this guy. I don't think he should fight this. I want my fans. I want the world. I want my team. I want everybody to be confident in me the way I'm confident in myself. So when I get in that ring, it's not, we're fighting for this fight. I'm not looking past Ra'eese at all. But it's for the next fight, we got to make sure we show out the right way. You got to be, and you got to learn off these guys like Floyd, these giants that we have, Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Manny Pacquiao, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez. The list goes on, and I didn't say, Lomachenko, Team Fimo's a youngster, but his mentality, his thought process, is what got him there. If he was one of those guys waiting to build up a big record like 30, 40-0, man, it would be too late. So, that's why these kind of fights is the fights I want. I want the guys with all O's. Everybody I fight, I want them to have 0 losses. I want them to have the championship. Because, when I retire, I don't want them to be like, oh, man, well, if Victor got started earlier, he could have been the next Floyd. No, I want to be able to beat 20-something champions by the time I have 30-something fights or 40 fights. I don't want to have 50 fights and only beat 10 champions, So after this fight, I just beg the boxing world just to give me nothing but world champions, nothing but the elite, and then I can shoot up to 126 and do the same thing.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is the goal to get to compete for a title at Super Bantamweight? Maybe get a defense there. How soon do you want to head up to 126 to featherweight?
I mean, we're right now we're like in a great position with this whole tournament kind of going on with PBC. They have like the Angelo Leo-Fulton fighting on the same card.
Right.
That's for the IBO and WBO. I don't know if they're unifying but I know Stephen Fulton's the current IBO and
right.
Angelo Leo is the current
I'm surprised you're
WBO.
recognizing
So I mean,
that.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I want them all. I mean, if we can bring the IBA back, I want the IBA too. I'm telling you, man, I got a lot of championships. I'm gonna even ask them, do you guys give medals too? I want the medals too. I want everything. I want it all, man. I want to be the next Roy Jones. Roy Jones was one of my heroes growing up. And the reason why I love about Roy Jones is he didn't care if it was a small bout or the big bout. He wanted it. He would fight anybody. John Rui, he took everybody out. And I have the same mentality, with that, with that fire behind me, but behind my soul, I feel like, I 120. Once I control, I want to be undisputed champion at 122, undisputed champion at 126, undisputed champion at 130. And as I'm at 122, because I make 122 easy. I mean, if we can fight anyway, for 118, because he has a few bouts, I would love to take his bouts too. I would love to fight him too, because I want to be the next Pacquiao. I don't want to just be the next Mayweather. I want to be the next Pacquiao and have as many weight classes under me. But I want to be the first champion to be undisputed in 3 or 4 different weight classes. So I mean, I gotta like it's like I was hearing this song the other day. It's like this guy was saying, everybody want to hear my wild dreams. Go ahead and sit down. You're gonna think I'm crazy. Yeah, people gonna think I'm crazy, but when it happens, they're gonna say, damn, this kid was saying this shit since he was a kid. I've always said that. I always knew what undisputed champion meant. I always knew what unifying champion meant, and undisputed just sounds so much beautiful to me. So I want them all. I want all the titles. I want to be able to not be able to hold all my titles. Hey, Dad, can you help me with this? My shoulder's hurting. This belt too heavy. Hey, Dad, can you help? I want everybody to hold a title for me. I want to hold. This is not just for me. This is mostly for me, but this is for my people, my Californians. This is for my all my fans. This is all the people the long-awaited fans, the dedicated, the loyal fans. This is all for my family. My father. This is for everything. This is everything I ever believed in, everything I ever fought for. There's a whole lot behind this. And I feel like, after we get Ra'eese out of the way, I mean, man, I pray that we can get either Brandon Figueroa, we can get Angelo Leo, the winner of Angelo Leo, Stephen Fulton, or Luis Neri. I mean, they're all with PBC. I don't see what will be holding me back. And I know I'm gonna be a big draw because my demeanor it's perfect for boxing. You know, I know to talk to the media. You know, I'm not
I
some
got
crazy ass guy that's gonna be sitting there like, oh man, I'm humble as hell. I'm from the streets. You know, I'm from the streets, so I'm humble as hell. I don't gotta act wild on the internet. I don't gotta act all. You know, I'm me. You know, you approach me the right way, I'm gonna approach you the right way. You know, but at the end of the day, it's just it's all about being a people's champ. You know, and I want to be that for boxing.
how do you see that one playing out with Leo? He showed me quite a bit. I'd seen a few fights of him before, he got to fight for the vacant title against Tremaine Williams. But started out a little slow with Williams adjusting to him being southpaw and whatnot, but he came back and had a great performance. Fulton, I've liked him, the Kakai fight, the cat that he fought on the undercard of Hurd and J-Rock was a good performance for him. That's when he won that IBO title. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I feel like, man, that Angelo Leo 714 it's gonna be good. I mean, I like that fight a lot. But the thing with Angelo Leo, I remember him since the amateurs. And he's a tough kid. Tough cat. Him and his brother. I mean, I think he had a brother. I don't know if they just hung out a lot, but his father, I know them too. Stefan Fortin, I really don't remember him. But I mean, that's I think he's from the East Coast and stuff like that. So if they weren't in the finals and like the nationals and all that, there's so much stuff going on when you're making weight at tournaments. You don't really pay attention. I didn't pay attention to the fighters. So Angelo Leo, I feel like between that fight, it's gonna be who's gonna want it more. Who's gonna be able to take the harder body shots because they both good body punchers. They're both tough. They're gonna both throw accumulation of punches. But I'm kind of leaning towards Angelo Leo on this side. I feel like those body punches that and Tremaine, that's my dog right there. Me and him won my first national silver gloves. I was 65 pounds and he was 50. I mean, he was 60 pounds. So I remember him from some of the sandbox. So that's my boy. So when he won that fight, I seen that Angelo Leo's body shots is what slowed him down.
Right.
And I feel like maybe applying more pressure would have probably got him the victory, but sometimes woulda, coulda, shoulda. The fight planned out. I respect Tremaine Williams for stepping up because he was getting ready for a title eliminator against Ra'eese, which would have been a much easier fight for him. I feel like he would have knocked out Ra'eese, or would have beat Ra'eese. But by him stepping up, which a lot of fighters won't do that on one day, 2 days notice. They're gonna say no, I'll take the easier way. So you got to respect Tremaine Williams on doing that part. I respect Angelo Leo and Stefan Fortin for unifying their titles because a lot of guys ain't doing that. They're just Bogarting one title, and it's like, come on, bro. Like, mix it up a little bit. Let's see how down you are. Let's see how much fire you really got behind them hands. They always want to do mandatories, title defenses, and I respect that. They have all the right to do that, but I feel like boxing needs to cancel that. Like, if you do a couple of title defenses, it's time to unify or get the hell out of the way because there's other people that need those titles and other people there's box. It's gonna be good for boxing, when you see these guys unifying titles, like with the Earl Spence and the Terrence Crawford. That's a big example right there. That's why I respect Canelo and Triple G because they did it. They were like, hey, let's mix it up. The world wants us to do it. That's why I respect Floyd Mayweather for fighting a young bull like Canelo and making him look like a beginner. I mean, you gotta look. That's what makes you respect them. And then another one of my favorites is Andre Ward Kovalev. That right there. Andre Ward didn't need that fight. Kovalev needed that fight, and Andre came out victorious both times. So that made me look at it like, man, this is hell yeah, man. This is what I like. That's what fueled my fire. So I feel like that Stefan Fortin and Angelo Leo, that's really good for boxing. I respect both of them for doing that.
Got you. You mentioned, having some pride in California and the California boxing scene and whatnot. Just kind of from the past a little bit, but did you have any thoughts on Ruben Villa and his loss and stepping up against Emmanuel Navarrete? Any thoughts on him leaving super bantamweight to go up to featherweight?
As far as Ruben Villa goes, I mean, I never knew he was a super bantamweight. I thought he was a 126 pounder the whole time. Ruben Villa's like he's cool kid, man. Really good kid. And like I said, he's a youngster taking a fight like that against a dog like Navarrete. Was it a little too early? I mean, I say yeah. I feel like maybe another 5 fights, 6 fights. Because these kind of guys, when you fight these Mexican fighters, they're gonna go in there and they're gonna dog it out because in Mexico they don't baby them. Man, we used to go to Mexico to go fight. Man, you fighting twice in one day, and then they used to do this weird shit where are two sparring partners at once. You're getting jumped in the ring and sparring. So that guy's used to that. He's used to that heat. So I feel like maybe they took that fight too lightly. Maybe they didn't expect that Navarrete was gonna like land on him. When the guy's throwing at 100, when he's throwing from his ankle and his knees and his back, it's hard to time those kind of punches. Trust me, I've been in the ring with some wild ass fighters and they have crazy styles. And I didn't look so pretty. I came out victorious, come out with a couple black eyes and lumps. But I remember telling my dad, like, damn, that fool was throwing from his ankles. I think he backhanded, you know. I feel like Ruben Villa maybe he took that fight a little too lightly. If he would have went in there more a little bit, trying to rough him up a little bit, push him on his back heels. Because if you fight a guy like Navarrete going backwards, it's not gonna work. Those guys love coming forward, but you got to take them out of their comfort zone. You got to push them on their heels. You got to turn their ass. You got to counter them right off the top and then turn them. You can't stay right in front of them. You can't fight on a line with those kind of guys because that's what they've been doing since they were kids.
Right. Hey, look, man, it's been great getting to know you, man. Like I said, this is going to be an awesome fight. I see a lot of complaining day to day about boxing and what it can't deliver, and I just hope that fight fans seek out these types of matchups and have a little patience or broaden their horizons about the sport, and understand and recognize a solid fight like this when you got two guys undefeated. You're 16-0 with 9 knockouts. He's 17-0, I think, with 11 knockouts and whatnot. And two guys that know how to fight, a number of different ways. Like I said, I saw you lead, back up a little bit, get some angles, pressure. And when it was time to put Encarnacion away, you set all of that up. So I just think I'm expecting a pretty brilliant fight. And like you said, leading into Leo and Fulton, I think it's gonna be a great night of boxing, man. So salute to you for taking this fight. And I'm anxious to catch it in a couple of weeks. Any last words for the boxing fans out there?
Man, all I gotta say is I thank everybody, man. Just tune in. January 23rd, Showtime. God bless everybody. I know it's been a crazy pandemic. Everybody keep your heads up. That's the biggest thing I can say. The hustle's, the grind has been real. The hustle's been real. Anybody who's out there supporting their families, anybody who is out there getting their kids, that's what I respect. That's forget about me. It's all about you guys. God bless everybody out there, and just tune in. January 23rd, the champ is back.
Gotcha. Hey, just one last question. I mean, you've hit on a couple of different names, Ward, Canelo. Who's anybody out there inspiring you in the sport besides those guys, or anybody that you see parts of their game that you're adding on to yours or experimenting in the lab. I'm sorry, man. I wanted to talk about you and your trainer, Brian Schwartz, and that relationship.
Well, I'm sorry, but me and what?
I wanted to talk about your relationship with your trainer, Brian Schwartz. One thing that I see on boxing and I'm a big fan of is checking out the communication between teams and how the trainer is instructing the fighter in between rounds and whatnot, and that exchange right there. You guys look phenomenal on TV as a unit. Where did that come from?
That shit was real. Man. Let me see. The way I can explain mine and Brian Schwartz's relationship, man, is it's been built off of the last 6 years. Like people say, "Oh my gosh, you listen to every single thing he said," but that was like 5.5 years of not listening to him, and him yelling at me all the time, and him molding me into this pro fighter, this dedicated fighter, this humble fighter. I had a lot of problems when I met Brian. And that man never gave up on me. I was like I said, from the streets, had a lot of alternative lifestyle. Everywhere I went, people were like, "Oh, look at this guy's crazy. Watch him. He's going to fight with somebody, or he's going to bang. He's going to do something crazy." And then they see me with Brian, and they're like, "What did you do to this kid?" Brian just opened my eyes to life and said, "Look, Vic, you don't got to do this, man. You can work. You can support your family. Why do you want to do this?" And I said, "Because I love it." He said, "No, you don't. Why are you giving me a hard time? Why are you giving, when I was with Top Rank, why are you giving Top Rank a hard time? You're being difficult." And I feel like for the last 6 years, all I needed to do for the last 10 years really as in my pro career, all I need to do was just trust somebody and just listen, just listen and be open-minded to anything he said. And that's what the fight showed. I felt that training camp, just for example, like just right now, I sparred 12 rounds and I had another sparring partner, and Brian's like, you don't need to keep going. I'm like, coach, I'm gonna go. And he goes, no, you're not. Get out of the ring. I'm like, no, I'm gonna spar still. And he's like, get out of the ring. You're not gonna spar. And then I listened, but everybody's laughing because they're like, no, Victor's gonna spar. My sparring partner even got in the ring, and I looked at him. I was like, I'm sorry. He's saying I can't spar no more. And Brian's like, he just told me, he's like, look, you're in shape. You're ready to fight 15 rounds right now. Let's just play it safe. What if you hyperextend, or what if you get a headbutt, or we're good. We're so perfect right now. We're hitting our peak early. We don't need this no more. Chill out, relax. Tomorrow take the day off, which I probably won't. But as far as as far as the communication goes, man, let me tell you, this man, his brain is, because me, I have like ADHD. I don't know what it is, man, but my brain processes, it's crazy. My energy, I'm just like, you can say 1-2 hook right hand, and as you're saying it, I'll be throwing that shit. So Brian is one coach, one of a kind, that he can just say something and it makes so much sense. And I feel like that's the last 6 years of me being with him every single day. So he tells me, whatever he tells me to throw, I throw it. Whatever he tells me to do, I do it. Sometimes, like as in the Encarnacion fight, I could have put him away in the 4th round. I could put away in the 5th round, but he didn't want that. He said, no, it's okay. Keep breaking him down. And then after the fight, he said, look how beautiful that looked. You didn't get hit. You got hit 26 times, which, I felt like that was wrong. I felt like I got hit maybe 10 times max in the fight.
Right,
But
right.
he told me, he said, look, it's okay. The best thing is we displayed our art. We were, our stage was, the world got to see it. The ring was your stage. He goes, I didn't want you going in huge punches and put this guy out. He goes, I wanted you to set it up, touch the body, fight inside, fight mid-range, outbox him on the outside, walk him down, let him walk you down a little bit, turn him, fight off the ropes a little bit. He wanted me to get my rounds in, so when we get a fight like Ra'eese Aleem, if we go to 12, he knows that we're going to secure the win no matter what. I'm going to go in there and get it, hit and not get hit. That's no matter what is going to happen. But he's showing me finally, hey, touch the body, because the body's going to fail right now. Come up now. It becomes fun. And in boxing, if you don't like that, if you don't like the homework, and if you don't like the constructive criticism, then you're not going to get nowhere in boxing. I remember a coach telling me one time, I don't know if it was Eddie Fudge, or I don't know who it was, but I remember him telling my amateur coach saying, once you think you know it all, it's better get out of the sport, because every day you learn something. Every day you learn something in this game, and I respect that, and I was like 8 years old when I got told that, and that ran with me as a little kid. And when I met Brian, it's like, oh shit, this is what he meant, because every day Brian has me working on something different. When I sparred earlier this week, he had me just breaking everybody down, just demolishing everybody. I was throwing 120 punches around. Today, he was like, nope, catch punches, touch the body, catch punches, throw a hook. So I was kind of like, fuck, I can throw 100 punches and end this guy right now. He's like, I know that, but let's practice on something you're not used to. And it's
Gotcha.
like, always, it bugs me. I'm like, no. But then now I know why he does it, because he knows that if we ever get into a battle, or we fight somebody super slick and that's long, we know we can adjust to these kind of fights. And the communication is 100% raw and real, bro. It's insane. And it's just trust, trust. Everyone needs to trust in their corner. Their corner's not in there to hurt them. They're in there to help. They're in there to help them. And I feel like every fighter, and that's what I love about Canelo and Eddie Reynoso, man. That Canelo, smaller guy, 5'7", 5'8", fighting in these light heavyweights. Look how big that guy he just fought. Callum Smith. He made him look like an amateur. And that was just all off of coaching, because Canelo didn't fight like that before. Even though him and his coach learned together, but his coach learned to adapt and adjust, and they did it together. So that's what I respect, and that's what I feel me and Brian have, and that's why it's going to separate me from a lot of these world champions, because a lot of these world champions, they get into these hard fights, and then they start ignoring their coaches. No, that's when you got to listen in. That's when you got to turn up the volume on his voice.
Yeah. I saw a little bit of that in the Roman fight when he lost to MJ. And
The
and
MJ, yeah,
even
that was that right there was you seen what was it? Roman came out in 11th and 12th round. And he started coming out and he started killing, MJ. Remember that?
Right.
And it was like you should have listened. You should have listened to your coach the whole time. And Danny Roman, that's my dog right there. That's my boy. We used to play freeze tag together in the Silver Gloves. He's from Southern California, just like I am. That's my boy. So no, I'm not talking bad, but I feel like if he would have fought the first 6 rounds like that, it would have been a whole different story. That guy MJ would have no energy because Danny can punch and he hits hard to the body and he keeps throwing at all different awkward angles. And he ain't the top guy. So when I seen him throw a jab and move around, oh hell no, you got to punch more than that. This guy from Uzbekistan is gonna throw 1,000 punches this fight. He wants to
Right.
win
Right.
those 2 world titles. So I feel like that was a split between that was not listening to his coach. There's a lot of fighters that do that. That they just get so frustrated and they block their coach out. When I start getting frustrated, I'm like, speak to me, talk to me. I need to feel something. And my coach is like, that's what I love about him. He knows exactly what I feel, exactly what I'm thinking, and that's just the bond between me and him.
Got you. And like I said, that's just something that I really started tapping into is watching trainer fighter interaction and improvement in between fights and is a trainer actually giving his fighter useful instructions during the fight, or is he clueless so the fighter looks clueless? It's just something I keep an eye on. Very last question, man. With you were in the Los Angeles bubble or whatever that situation is to fight, at that Microsoft Theater or whatever. You'll be going over to Uncasville, Connecticut. Any thoughts? You just said your weight was good, so it seems like the only barrier for you could be passing the COVID tests, to make sure you make it to fight night. But just any thoughts on adjusting to that environment and maybe that week that you spend a lot of solitude that week, and then are you good with the fight night environment with no fans?
I love it. A whole new lifestyle, man. It's crazy. Let me tell you, people are complaining about the bubble. I'm like, I'm embracing the bubble. I get a break. I don't have to have nobody. I don't have to have nobody around me. It's like, man, they knock on my door. They bring the food in my room. I'm like, what are you guys complaining about? This is cool. This is chill. We get our own hour. We get our own hour and a half or 2 hours in the workout room. I heard the Mohican Sun has the best food in the bubble, so I'm looking forward to that. LA was good food. It was really good food. We had steaks, we had pasta. It was perfect. Like I said, I'm a really appreciative man over everything. Growing up, there was times when we had to eat McDonald's before the fight, and that was a lot of times. Dollar menu. So people complain about, oh man, I can't have no outside world. So basically, you're saying you need distractions. You need to be out and about. No, when you get a fight, you got to be like a gladiator. You got to be locked up in that cage, concentrating, conserving your energy, conserving your thoughts. And I felt like this bubble, the bubble helped me out with this fight outbreak. I mean, I don't have to hear, all the fans screaming. I can hear my coach Brian. And as far what was that other last you said? You said as far as the fans, I mean, sometimes fans can make you nervous. Sometimes fans, it gets a little crazy loud. People start saying stuff, get in your head. So I feel like, it felt like it felt like one of those like those private street fights where nobody can come around and it's just like me and you, let's go take a walk around the corner. It's gonna be me and you, just you're a boy and I'll bring my boy, and we run it and we run it and we run it for 12 rounds. That's how I felt, and it felt good, I mean, there's just, I feel like anybody who complains about it just making excuses because a lot of people feed off of hype or energy off of the crowd like that, which is all respectful. I salute you. Go ahead. That whatever floats your boat, that's what it is. But with me, it doesn't matter. I grew up around big crowds. My whole amateur career, I was generating huge crowds. When I fought at the World Championship, when I fought the Nationals, everybody migrated to my ring. So of course the pressure was real. Those 3 rounds. So when by them saying, "Oh, there's no fans and all that," I'm like, "Yes, another one." Hopefully, my next one can be the same way. Of course, I miss. I have 2 kids. I have 2 beautiful kids. My son's a fighter. My daughter's a fighter. Of course, I miss the wifey laying down and next to me in bed while we're watching cartoons before the fight or movies or whatever it is. But sometimes, a gladiator got to be alone just to be in himself. Just so he can rest. And after 8 weeks of hard training, the way I train, man, that was the most beautiful rest I've ever had. Like, man, all I was worrying about was just interviews, making sure that I'm not repeating myself too much or making sure that I'm not like stuttering or I mean, making eye contact, and that was all. Other than that, it was rest, and that's what the body needs. That's what the mind needs. You know, a lot of these fighters, they get too caught up on the outside world. It's like, man, put that aside. You know, get in the ring, showcase, and then you worry about the outside world. You know, but as far as the bubble goes, it's a blessing that us as a boxing sport, we're able to still fight, and then at the same time too, they're taking care of us. They're feeding us. They got the COVID testing, so we're healthy. They got all the staff, for PBC and TGB and Showtime and Fox, which I fought on Fox. They're so helpful, man. Whatever you need, they do for you in a positive way. There's no complaining. So I'm like, man, I feel like a prima donna. I'm chilling here, and they're doing everything I ask. I mean, it was I'm so appreciative of it. And I feel like it was actually a benefit for me.
Got you. All right. Hey, well, look, man, I don't want to hold you up anymore. I need to root for my boys over here. My Washington football team is in some trouble in this second half. Best of luck to you, man. I'm looking forward to the fight again. And I don't know what Showtime has planned for Media Week, but maybe we'll cross paths again if they do some Zoom stuff or something.
Okay. Yeah, man. Of course, I mean, whenever, man, like I said, just talk to Mario. Mario always I'm one of those guys where, a lot of guys get difficult. Oh, I don't want to do interviews. I'm like, shit, I got a big mouth. I talk all day. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? We talk about boxing all day. Right now, as we're speaking, my father-in-law just got me a bunch of red snapper. So my wife was like, babe, the red snapper's about to be ready in about 20 minutes. I said, well, just keep it on the grill. Throw a lot of lemon on it, and I'll be right home. I'll be right around the corner.
Got you. All right, man. Hey, it's been a blast talking with you, man. Good spirit. Fight. You seem like a fighter first. I'm anxious for the fight, man. That's it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on your channel, man. And I appreciate the hospitality, and like I said, I love talking boxing, man. So God bless you. Happy New Year. And good luck with your football team, man. Hopefully you guys come back.
All right, man. Take care, Vic. Hey, thanks for everybody that checked out the interview. I didn't mean to go that long. He kind of got a little long-winded on a couple of answers. I got a little long-winded, and we're here, 45 minutes or whatever it is. I don't have a clock in front of me, but I do got to get on here and check out my my Washington football team. I didn't realize our starter Alex Smith was out. But I was kind of happy that he was out because I'm tired of that 5-yard pass stuff. But Heineke, they expect this kid to step in and play in a playoff game. It is what it is. But and then it's Tom Brady, that he's across the field from and whatnot. So let me go check this out again. That fight is coming up January 23rd. Showtime is doing something slick with on the 20th on Wednesday night. They're gonna have a show box with 3 fights. The 4th fight just fell off due to COVID. So that kind of gets boxing back on your schedule. For those of us that are week to week and whatnot, we're off this week. I should be up there with my wife right now, but the interview came in for me, and that's what we plan to do in 2021 is get back to interviewing fighters and whatnot. So I came down here in the basement to get that in. But fight, but like I said, Showtime will be back with the show box. And then on the 23rd is the Angelo Leo WBO Super Bantamweight champion fighting against Stephen Fulton out of Cool Boy Steph out of Philadelphia. That he mentioned, Vic mentioned that he must be a student of the game like that to even mention that Stephen Fulton has the IBO version of the 122-pound division. The only other dude out there that you might know that has an IBO belt is Anthony Joshua, because he tries to throw it out there that he has 4 titles every once in a while. Honestly, though, and I got an interview on here with Stephen Fulton when I was at that fight where we kind of had some jokes about his intentions to make the IBO title pop. It still hasn't happened a year and a half later, but that's no knock on him. But I think that's going to be a phenomenal fight, man. I know week to week, and I know on a daily basis, you have several channels, several sources and guys sitting here with headsets on talking about boxing. and what's not happening and what can't get done, and the big fights that we don't get. But there are a lot of guys, like everything that guy just told you about his story, his amateur career, him missing the game, being away for 3 years, accepting these types of fights, like I was mentioning earlier, and like I said with Ra'eese yesterday, you know, this very well should be a I mean, look at who Shakur Stevenson fought for, you know, for his first title, a vacant title against Joet Gonzalez, who was a guy he was very comfortable with in fighting. I mean, on paper, Joet Gonzalez didn't really have a chance to beat Shakur Stevenson. And I hope it is Stevenson. You know, when you don't look at people's names sometimes, I forget if it's Stevens or Stevenson, but I think it's Stevenson. But here it is. These guys are basically well, if you don't know, Ra'eese Aleem, when they came back last year, when Angelo Leo fought for this WBO title that he now has, he was supposed to fight Stephen Fulton Dent for the vacant WBO title. So Ra'eese Aleem was the co-main event on that fight. So in theory, Ra'eese Aleem really could be fighting for a world title fight. He could have been fighting the winner of Leo and Fulton, conceivably. That didn't happen. And now you come here, you know, he beats Marcus Bates, who that was a rematch. He beats him convincingly, and it's like, oh yeah, before you get to that finish line again, now you got to face Vic Pasillas, who comes along and is a handful. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the guy fight. You can go check out the entire fight on PBC's channel. Maybe they have the highlights out there. I found a video where it was the entire fight, but it was on FS1. So you can check that out and see that the kid has a lot of tools. You see he's high-spirited, good energy. I think it's going to be a good war. And honestly, I think it's one of the top few fights that we're going to get in the first quarter of 2021. So that's that. Anyway, man, I got to get out here, my guys. I think they just took a field goal attempt. Thanks for everybody tuning in. I hope you hit that like button for me. Keep a lookout on the channel in the future. We will be getting in more and more interviews. That's really my thing versus coming on here telling you what I think and what I think I know about boxing. I really prefer just to share stories and get the stories out there that maybe will give some of you guys. Thanks, Mr. K. You might have left already, but appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I just want to get the stories out there, man. And I think one thing that boxing struggles to do is to give fans, while we're not getting those marquee fights that we want, we're also we're not being given a whole lot to understand and to care why to tune in on Friday and Saturday night. And I want to be a part of giving you a reason to tune in and know who some of these guys are. Maybe it just takes the right person to tell you why you should care, or here's an interesting angle about this particular fight. So maybe I could step in that void. You know, anyway, 18-10, we got a shot. We still in this thing. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Peace.